Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video in the Profit Managed channel. Before I begin, let me just explain why I haven't been uploading as regularly. I've been pretty much focusing so much on our premium community, which is not necessarily a shill on my end, but it's literally just to tell you that my focus has been heavily put over there and nowhere else. It's only been recently where I started to become a little bit active on social medias. I honestly loved the fact that I wasn't on social media just doing my thing, away from all the noise. But I understand that as we are approaching a critical moment in the market, that if I were to do this type of content available to a lot more people, I know that I can help somebody out there. So if you know that this type of content, technical analysis, the ways that you should be charting and trading and things like that, if you know that this is the type of content that you know you will enjoy, please do yourself a favor and also help me out by liking this video, leave a comment and subscribing for more content like this. I have to watch out for your support at this moment in time because this stuff, it may not look like it, but it's a lot of work to constantly move away from my personal trading or focusing on the premium side of things, and also making sure that you guys are getting some content out of what I do. So with that being said, we can resume this video. So today I want to do a technical analysis for the week of June 2nd to June 8th. It's a very packed week when it comes to economic events, which I'm not going to be talking about. That is not the point of this video. I just want to look at the charts with you guys and show you guys what I personally see coming forward. And so right now I'm on the total one chart, and on the total one chart here, what you are going to be seeing here is currently my expectation. What I am kind of anticipating here to happen is this week we should be getting some sort of a trigger to understand better how next week will play out, rather than this being a decisive week, because today, this week there is a lot of up and down opportunities through volatility. So what I've identified here is actually the equilibrium point of this current range in which we're in, which on the total one will basically be at 3.32 trillion. So the market likes to go back towards equilibrium. The market doesn't like imbalances or not having steady place to reset, accumulate or distribute from. The market likes equilibrium, and right now we are you can see that we are shifting back up. We didn't even hit this level of support, but we are shifting back up towards resistance. So at this moment in time, I'm kind of favoring a little bit more to the upside in the short term, but the short term upside that I'm expecting could be very short term lived. The reason being is because there is this trend over here which is missing its third touch. Ideally, in an ideal world, what we should be seeing would be something like this. To be completely honest with you, because this third touch of a trend line will be creating some sort of a bounce. We don't know necessarily to which extent, or at least I wouldn't be focusing on that right now, but we know that the third touch of this trend line will be coming at a level of support, which I've highlighted over here with the gold color. Okay, so it could also end up being something like this before we reverse back down. Now, why am I pointing to more potential downside here? You gotta understand the context in which you're trading in. You can see that I've put this trend line here on the daily, which we currently have broken out from. There is this thing that you gotta understand, that not necessarily every single uptrend, once you break the trend, is truly an uptrend. And a good example of this is actually what has happened in the last cycle, where you can see that if I were to plot a trend line, which I hope I do find, because I didn't really plan on doing this live, but I'm pretty sure that there is one over here. I don't remember exactly where it was. Yeah, it should be something like this, where you can see that we had this uptrend broke the trend line, and then we climbed back up until we basically touched this trend line here. From there onwards, we actually started a full-blown bear market on Bitcoin. So I'm not necessarily calling here for a bear market to happen, or at least that is not necessarily the focus here. If you want to know my thoughts, I do believe that Bitcoin has either topped out or is about to get topped out. I do potentially see on a push to the upside coming, but right now we're talking about a total one chart. And you gotta be aware that right now, when it comes to upside, you have two possibilities. Either it's very short-term lived and we go towards equilibrium and then we correct, and then potentially we go to this trend line here from which I'm expecting a rejection from, and we reverse back down, or we reverse back down here, take out the slow, hit this trend line here. You will also be taking out a couple of lows, which will then give the boost to price to potentially go and take out this high. And while doing so, you will also be tapping heavy levels of resistances. Okay, so you have quite a lot of the resistance here. If you're wondering, because maybe you never saw my videos, or maybe you're not in premium, the reason why I've put this red triangle here is because I do want a thing that I like to call trendline channels, where it's two trend lines that usually come from the same origin point, and the space in between is where you're most likely going to be facing resistance. Look at what has happened. Every time that we stayed above this trendline channel, we had to push to the upside. The moment that we broke below it and actually closed the candles below it, you can see why I do a parallel channel here when it comes to using trend lines. Sorry, not a parallel channel, trend line channel when it comes to using those trend lines, because you can see that the candle here, for example, didn't necessarily peak out at the touch of the trend line or anything like that. It actually went a little bit more higher towards the level of resistance, and then it corrected. But right now we are actually starting to retest this trend line once again. So the odds for me are that even in the case, right, and this is why I put this annotation here, even in the case where we do end up seeing a little bit more upside than what I'm personally expecting to see right now, I think that touching this region over here is going to be the max region that we end up going at this moment in time with a total one. And that is without, of course, Bitcoin taking out 74K, because there's a lot of liquidity to the downside. So I think that it's going to be very, very hard to continue this uptrend. And any short-term influx of volatility is it's most likely going to be short-term lived, in my opinion. Now, what are better odds in terms of trading opportunities? In my opinion, we should be disregarding what happens in this range. Unless you're scalping, I will not have any interest in day trading this type of stuff, besides scalping, of course, or anything that is very short-term. What I will be more interested in when it comes to spot swings and things like that is actually this projection here, where regardless of where we end up topping out in this region here, whether it's at this equilibrium point or we go a little bit higher to retest this trend line from which we're going to be expecting a rejection from, what I would like to see here is actually a return back into this region here, because, well, as I said before, the market likes equilibrium. If this is a distribution that is happening here, the equilibrium point is going to be found down in this region, because this is the last level of consolidation that we had before the breakout to the upside. Any voids of this nature are not real levels of support, okay, or resistance. So if price is going to break down, it's actually going to be moving down very, very quickly, most likely due to a narrative, in my personal opinion. But I don't really care about narratives, but there is the potential for that, due to the fact that I feel like if we do end up seeing a candle closure below 3.11 trillion dollars on a total one chart, that we are going to be slicing down through into this region at the very, very least. There is also the case for another hypothetical range, which would have to be this one over here, where we could potentially wick fish a little bit lower. But right now, what I will be doing, and I will be doing this myself along with Premium, is once we have all our triggers coming into fruition, most likely down into this region, I'm going to be accumulating more spot positions on our altcoins. Okay. right now, I do see another level of consolidation here, which, you know, we still haven't hit. So there is a very good possibility, in my opinion, that we are going to be tapping into this region. And, you know, that's why I'm open to both of these scenarios, whether we go down into this region, retest this level of equilibrium, and then we have the bounce up to go towards this region of equilibrium. I think that once we are done in this region, that we are going to be breaking down lower. Now, what could potentially happen here is that we may get the final push to the upside, which in my opinion is going to happen in this summer. So I don't think that we're gonna go super crazy to the upside, but I think that we're gonna go high enough to kind of put back euphoria into the market. The reason why you are not feeling as excited, even though Bitcoin is making new all-time highs, is because you don't own any Bitcoin. That's the reality of it. Most retail people are in altcoins, and if altcoins are trading at range lows or at all-time lows, then the euphoria is not in the picture here, at least not for the retail. So I think that we are going to be getting, and I also share this on my Twitter, which make sure that you go and follow it. You find the links down below in the description. That I am expecting to see some sort of a relief rally for these altcoins during the summer, but I think that they're not going to go past the summer. And when I say relief rally, I'm expecting no more than 100 to 200% in the most part. Okay, there are going to be some exceptions, sure, but that doesn't really matter. I think that they are going to be catching up a little just to give people the illusion of an old season. Premium knows very well about what I'm referring to. But it's most likely going to be breaking down one more time. I think that we are in a bull trap. It's very uncommon to see significant sustainable uptrends begin during, well, continue, I should say, during the summer. And if we happen to see that, I think that it's going to happen before something breaks. And I don't think that we're going to have, what I think that is actually going to happen is people will get trapped into holding, first of all, because of bad positioning. This cycle is going to be heavily focused on positioning. It's not going to be one of those cycles where, you know, even with a bad entry, you can make some decent gains. Entries and positioning here are the key aspect to things. Of course, it goes without saying taking profit as well, but I think that what most people are gonna be doing wrong in this cycle is expecting more too soon. Okay, I think that there is going to be a trap that the whales will lay out that will make people just hold, whether it's through their bad positioning and technically smaller returns from their entries, or through a narrative, or to the fact that you know, as a seasonality tendency, that people expect Q4 to necessarily be bullish. Now, what if Q4 is extremely bearish? Right? You kind of gotta think outside of the box. You know that the cycle hasn't played out as previous cycles. At least that's what the narrative tells you. I have my own thoughts about it, but I'm not gonna share in this video, just to not make it too long. But you know, what if Q4 isn't as bullish as you think? And you know what most people will do wrong is they will not hear the advice. They will stick to what they feel like it's most likely going to happen, and they're most likely going to be trapped without taking any profits. So they will be like, either they will either be saying what profits, as in they did not make any good entries and therefore they have no profits to take, or they will just be holding up for longer. I'm not going to be playing it like that. There will be a time where things will look a lot better and we can start talking about upper levels, and all these trend lines over here that are projecting super crazy targets. But it's not right now. I'm sorry if you wanted to hear that. You know, I'm just gonna be as real as possible. 222. Again, here, what I see and what I want to see personally is this. So I want to see, first of all, potentially some resistance coming into this region over here for a simple fact of equilibrium. Like, why do I speak so much about equilibrium? If you want to know why it's so important, make sure to watch the previous video where I decipher the total 3 path to Altseason. video. That video is so good. I'm not saying it because I did it, but because I literally go through every single thing that I do when it comes to charting. Of course, well, there isn't necessarily everything, but there is a good amount of stuff that I point out, and you understand a lot more of my equilibrium theory and the way that I use equilibrium to trade. So overall, this region over here is what I will be focusing on for some resistance. You can see, and a good way to see if there is any validity to what I'm saying when it comes to equilibrium is actually move, well, plot rectangles, right? And plot them in a way that you, if you extend them, check if there is any validity to the left and to the right, okay? Well, not to the right, but you get the point. To the left here, for example, what did price do once it stepped into this region? Well, initially started to accumulate in this, or distribute, I should say, in this region. So we know that this level had some importance. Then it broke down, retested this level as a resistance, moved back down. What are we doing now? Trying to flip this level as a support. But what you got to understand here, and you can also see that you reacted as a resistance. What you got to understand here is that yes, it may look like it's weakening, but usually if you have watched price for long enough, you know that if you break down from a level of previous support and now turn into resistance, you tend to see a candle like this one over here that just sliced through the level. Okay, then afterwards what you're expecting to see is a retrace back towards the level of resistance from where you're going to be seeing a rejection from, right, quite quickly, to say the least. If I were to plot a Fibonacci here, sorry, I have only equilibrium points right now, so let me actually just put back the layout. And yeah, why not? Let's use this layout over here just as an example. Well, what do you see? You got another equilibrium point. Make it smaller if you wish. You got a 6.1%. Optimal trade entries for shorts are going to be presented down into this region, and I'm sure that if I break it down enough, I will be able to find either breakers or order blocks in this region. Okay, there's quite a lot of stuff that could be impacting on the lower time frames in this area here, and you got to understand also that right now you're making lower lows. So in my opinion, what is most likely going to happen here is this, where we are going to be rejecting from this level very soon. Then we're going to be retesting this breaker. Okay, breaker retested is I have an alert for it because this is where I'm going to be buying some more altcoins. When I say buying, you know, I have an amount that I'm not going to be touching unless extreme opportunity comes. Okay, I'm not going to go all in. I'm just going to increase my exposure as I've already started doing slightly. But I'm not going to go crazy because this is not the time to go crazy. This is the time to either sell your positions, get the fuck out, or make some short-term profits and pretty much not aim for super crazy ROI, in my opinion. I think that what we could be seeing right now is just a projection. It's not a specific levels or anything. Could be something like this where, you know, we go down into this level. We then have a significant push to the upside. That is most likely going to be tapping some sort of level of equilibrium into these regions, potentially in these levels here. And then it's going to snap back down to what I think is going to be taking out the slow and some other stuff to the downside here. You know, I have a very big breaker down into this region that I really think that we are going to be hitting. To me, buying, like going significantly in, at least for me, happens down in this region, whether you like it or not. This is where I'm going to be doing most of my severe buying. So I always have capital for that. I'm not gonna go all in right now, okay? So, but there is opportunities. This also gets you back close to levels where. Hold on, let me actually put this back on this levels here. Okay, It basically puts you back to levels that we have seen in December 2024. I think that most altcoins will get close to those levels, but not take them out enough to make people believe that the breakout is pending, and that's where people will start to buy a lot just before the final trap sets in my opinion. Let's go to the total 3. Total 3, pretty much the same exact story, to be completely honest here. I want to see return back towards equilibriums, levels of a breaker coming back into the picture, then a push to the upside before it breaks down more significantly back down into these regions. Takes out this low, and from there onwards we can actually speak about a significant old season. Orders chart, pretty much the same story. This one is actually a little bit stronger than the other ones, surprisingly. But I'm still expecting the same exact thing, a push to the upside into these regions, push back down, potentially even take out this low, maybe even go a little bit lower than that. But overall, I'm expecting a push to the upside afterwards, and then a fat correction to the downside. So this is a little bit of a recap because I haven't been updating you guys on YouTube in quite some time. So if this video is a little bit longer, understand why I'm doing it and that I'm doing it for you. When it comes to Bitcoin here, so I have a couple of charts actually for Bitcoin here. This chart over here is a little bit better to kind of show you what I'm expecting to see, and to be honest, it's the same exact thing that I'm expecting to see on the total 1 chart, just on Bitcoin. Okay, we got a very similar structure here. From low to low, you got this trending here that is waiting to be hit. You got some equilibrium points that you should be retesting from high to low. Equilibrium happens to be at 107. I will speak about this level very soon. There's some smaller range, so 107, 108 will be my best guess to the upside right now. And you know, it's the same concept that I showed you guys on the total 1. Okay, either this moves up into this level and then we start to correct back down. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention, this is valid for both total 1 and BTC charts. I told you about this third trendline touch that is missing. One thing that could potentially happen here is that we go up into our upper levels that we are looking at, then we touch the trend for the third time, but at the same time we'll be breaking some sort of a trend line that has been sustaining the uptrend, which for the case of Bitcoin is this one over here. Retest as a resistance, and then down we go. Okay, there is the possibility of the third touch coming in to give a bounce, but doesn't really make any sustainable bounce. Okay, that is definitely still in the cards as a possibility. When it comes to Bitcoin, I will give you my targets and I'm looking out for, and I actually have to do it on this chart here. The reason why I have so many charts for totals, Bitcoin and so on is because from time to time I like to reset, you know, draw everything back into a clean chart to see if my thesis may have to make a may have to change, or if I'm looking at things differently. If I'm looking at the same things, right, no matter how much time has gone by, that is an indication for me that the market is still waiting to do a certain move. Okay, so from time to time I like to just go on a clean layout, do everything back once again, and see where I stand afterwards. Okay, so Bitcoin here, this is the projection that I'm really looking at. Quite the levels of support is what basically triggering this bounce. I'm just gonna be removing a bunch of stuff that we don't really need to see at this moment in time. Yeah, I think that's good. There is some more other stuff that I want to remove, but I'm not removing them just yet. I want to see a return back towards 109 and 108. I think that this is where we're going to be facing some sort of a resistance. This is where we last faced resistance as well. So you can see that it's pretty much the same exact story when it comes of broken levels of support and resistance. Price likes to then revisit them just to confirm if they are actually being broken or not. And you know, if they've been broken, which in this case they have, they will start to create a sell-off. So I'm expecting to see a sell-off in between, that should bottom out, sorry, between 97 to 94.6, with a potential wick fish into around 93.4. And then potentially a new all-time high. I think that this is what's going to trigger the altcoin bounces. There could be the case for some consolidation for Bitcoin in this region. Definitely a possibility here. But I'm not really focusing on that right now. I kind of see this trade as an opportunity, to be honest with you. I may be interested in taking it myself. What's another thing that I wanted to mention here is, I don't know, I'm trying to think, but I don't know. I think that I've said it all. When it comes to current expectations for Bitcoin, yes, there is the potential for distribution here where altcoins catch up, and then I feel like Bitcoin is going to be snapping down significantly to the downside. If you wanted to know what I'm expecting to see, potentially even as low as 49k. I think that 49-ish could be coming into fruition to take out the low. Why am I expecting 49 to potentially be taken out here? Reason being is because, well, I think that the cycle is almost over. And more importantly, the USDT dominance chart. You know, I've had this chart and I showed it on X, I showed it on Involio. Well, obviously if you're in premium, you know very well about this chart. But this is the range in which the USDT dominance chart is currently dealing in. You know, ever since we were trading up in this level, well, actually even before that, because I've been having this range pretty much since the start of 2024. Once we started this range here, and I stated that if I see the price, right? Sorry, the dominance of USDT taking out this high, I want to be longing, which is exactly what I've done. I bought some more coins back in August of 2024, and in the summer of 2024. Then I said that if I were to see the 6.1% of the overall USDT dominance from bottom to top, that I want to get out. Look at the other where it says get out of the market, because it's likely going to be triggering a significant bounce. Significant. It may not be the end all be all. I don't think that it's going to be, but I really expect to see a big bounce from this level, which from a range perspective, we should be expecting it to take out this high at the very least. And this side represents the 49k low on Bitcoin. So that's why I think that we should be seeing Bitcoin trading back down into that level. Don't ask me about the narrative. Could be something that breaks on the bonds. Could be anything, honestly. Could be a pandemic. There's so many things that could happen. I don't really care about what happens. I just know that from a structure perspective, and I think that I taught this on YouTube as well. I'm pretty sure that I have. What you should be looking out when it comes to ranges is very, very simple. Depending on which, and of course, you need to apply the context, okay? Sometimes this fails because you don't apply the right context way. But depending on which breakout happens first inside of a range, if it breaks out to the upside first, you're looking for the breakdown to the lower spectrum of the range, and then the breakout is going to unfold depending on the first direction that the price took outside of the range, which in this case, in a bullish scenario, will be to the upside. So you will be expecting for price to take out this high, and you should be longing once price has reclaimed back inside this range. If you're more adventurous, you should be longing outside of the range for the best ROI that you can get on the trade. Otherwise, you will be expecting to see price reclaim inside of the range, and from there onwards, you could put your stop loss below the breakout to the downside, and then continuation higher as well. You will be expecting. Okay, so if you look at what has happened here, how can you tell me that this is not likely going to happen here? If you remove this internal range for a second, look at what has happened attentively. High, low. You're back inside of this range. So while I am expecting, because there is an internal range, it's basically a range within a range. that hasn't seen any sort of a breakout just yet in either direction. If we are going to see another swing to the upside, it's most likely going to be taken out this low, and it's most likely going to hit the 6.20%. So I want to get out in this region here, start shorting heavily the market, and then once we exit out of both of these ranges, can you then consider going crazy with whatever you want? And that is of course not financial advice, but this is what I'm going to be doing myself. So it's going to be cool because I'm going to be documenting this on YouTube. If you guys of course show the support, if you guys give the likes, comment and subscribe. You know, if that doesn't come true, I'm sorry. I'm going to be focusing more on the group, and I'm gonna be focusing more on myself, and that is the truth at this moment in time. You know, hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from with that statement. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm expecting. Afterwards, we can speak about very big gold season, in my opinion, towards the 78.6%, then a prolonged bear market. But this is kind of what I'm looking out for here, and this is why when it comes to Bitcoin, this is what my charts say. I know it's quite messy. If you guys want more of a breakdown of a specific asset, whether it's Bitcoin or anything else, you gotta let me know in the comments, okay? So this is currently what I see. When it comes to Solana, I think that I've named Solana to the T when it comes to expectations here. The premium guys know that I've been highlighting the fact that this is a parallel channel. This is an internal range that from all the way back here, which I've actually called the top for, and premium knows it. I said that this is where I would be expecting Solana to be topping out. That's exactly what happened. And I wanted to see a retrace back inside of this internal range, which we started doing. If I were to plot the 50% of this range here, but you see price went back towards equilibrium. Another way of me showing you that equilibriums are so important. There is also another equilibrium point down here. I mean, there is so much that you could do with this stuff. Okay, so I was expecting to see that, and then I said, look, once you tapped into this level here, yes, there was a chance also of tapping directly 60, but this was a level that I was expecting to create some sort of a bounce regardless. Okay, which it has. Initially I was also considering the possibility of topping out at the equilibrium point of this parallel channel. We sliced straight through it, but now I'm expecting to see a return back towards equilibrium, and most likely to around the breaker level, which we have over here for Solana. This is the breaker block, bullish one. So this is where I'm basically seeing that the market is currently awaiting to finish this correction back down. That is then going to create another swing to the upside. That is not going to be taking out any all-time highs or anything like that, especially on Solana. From there onwards, I'm expecting to see a significant retracement that takes out the slow. I don't know if it's going to stop out right here or a little bit lower. Either way, if you are really that bullish on Solana, and to be honest, I don't really find the reason to be, because the ROI is not that significant. It's at 300%. Even from this case, it's at 479%. I think that most altcoins will do a lot more than that. But yeah, I'm expecting potential swing to the upside. That just like the Bitcoin chart from the last cycle, it will be just a retest of a broken trend line. Okay, that's why I'm not expecting to see crazy ROI. Top out, bear market stuff, bam, push to the upside. Solana competes with Ethereum in the next actual cycle, in my opinion. Or at least has a very big swing to the upside regardless. So this is what I'm currently seeing. Let me see if I'm missing out on anything. There is other total charts and stuff like that, but I think that the main stuff has already been covered, so I'm not going to be spending too much time on that. Let's cover Ethereum. Ethereum is at a level of resistance in my eyes. There is a possibility of going a little bit higher towards 3,000 or maybe even the upper trend line here at 2009. But right now, to be honest, I'm not looking for trades inside of this area for Ethereum. I will be interested, sorry, to trade this once we get back into the breaker. And I actually have to change this because this has actually become, in my opinion, some high probability setup. The reason why I wrote low probability is because overall, yes, it's still in a downtrend. Okay, I mean, depending on how you zoom out, you could determine whether it's bullish or bearish. But you know, if we have, well, no, let me put it this way: take out this high, it becomes high probability, as that would signify a market structure shift. Maybe that's why I add this projection here now that I remember. Market structure shift, correction back down towards equilibrium, which of course will then be rearranged. If you take out the side, for example, yeah, equilibrium is down here, 6.1% down in this region. I will definitely be expecting to see a retracement down into these levels here before any sort of swings to the upside. So I have this projection here. I'm just gonna mention it because otherwise people will miss out on what I'm actually implying here. So is there a chance for Ethereum to do some crazy move over the next few months? Maybe. That's why there is a possibility of taking out this high and, you know, slightly new all-time high is what I'm expecting to see. Maybe. The reason why I say maybe so much is because it could just be a swing to another level of significant resistance, which is gonna be up in these levels of here, the 3000s and, well, the mid 3000s. I will give you guys a proper level once the time comes, but there could be that chance here that we just are going to be facing that sort of resistance. Okay, so you got to be mindful about that as well. Reason being is because, wait, where did I chart this? Okay, I think it's the yearly. So another way that you could be looking at this is by applying this trend a year. Okay, let's go back on the weekly. Right, let me actually rearrange it. So you can see that this trend line here is actually missing its third touch. So a third touch, you know that it's going to be creating some sort of a significant reversal. That touch, depending on when it happens, should be taking you to around 3,800, 3,900. Which, if you were to consider the zone in which that will basically take Ethereum in, is pretty much where we never really had a lot of strength above. Okay, so there is that possibility here to either touch this level and reject from it right away and target $880, or you could take out the all-time high and still be targeting $880. Okay, so the reason why I'm expecting to see $880 coming back into the picture here is because of what? Guess what? This is a range. Okay, so it hasn't seen any sort of breakout prior to that. The reason why there is the possibility of entertaining new all-time high is because if Ethereum is going to survive, right, which we tend to think that it's going to, right, technically the breakout should be happening first to the upside to validate the idea of this taking out the liquidity to the downside after wiping out the bear market low and then shifting to the upside for good. Okay, it's either that, or if we stop before taking out this all-time high, what that would imply here is that we are actually waiting to see something like this, where we end up taking out this low, slight new all-time high, but then we go straight back down to maybe not necessarily the death of Ethereum, but rather perhaps some more accumulation, okay, for lower prices. And from there onwards, you kind of gotta wait for these trend lines to perhaps expire. We will assess that sort of information when the time actually comes. But right now, Ethereum, focus on that because to be honest with you, it's in a region where it's either make or break for the future for Ethereum when it comes from a technical perspective and ranges. I don't know if you how much you will be acceptant of that theory. I don't really think that it's too impossible. I'm just waiting for structure to tell me what's going to happen next, and I see that as a possibility. So Ethereum versus Bitcoin, yes, it's moving up, sure, but to be honest, I still want to see a return back down into this level at the very least, with this level here being the wipe of this low. Could potentially come in later, especially if we end up seeing that push to the upside to around this level. From there onwards, reverse back down, which should be aligning with around 3,800 per Ethereum. Not because I've seen correlations between the two charts, but I'm talking about expansion, dominance, and all of that. Okay, especially if Bitcoin stalls. I think that sort of situation could potentially arise here. I covered the total 3 minus Solana minus BNB, XRP, USDT, and USDC chart in the previous video. Make sure to watch it. One thing that I want to say about this chart very quickly is that I forgot in the last video to show you guys this possibility here. I said that this is an important trend line. Not gonna go over all the stuff that I talked about in the video right now. Make sure to watch it because I literally broke it down for you guys from zero. But there is also a chance of breaking this trend line, tapping out the slow, and then have a swing to the upside. It's either that or we hold this level. Perhaps we do have some weak fishing below, but we end up closing the candles back above, and then up we go for the summer quote-unquote alt season before something like this actually takes place. Okay, it's either this one or the other. What's another thing that I wanted to show you guys? The Bitcoin dominance, and then we can wrap up. Bitcoin dominance currently retracing from my level. There is a breaker here, which I'm going to show you guys on the daily. Low of this candle created a push to the upside, which then created a correction. We perfectly tapped the breaker, so now altcoins are showing a little bit of strength. But yeah, level of resistance, currently expecting to see a breakdown from these levels, and pretty much find the end of the small alt season somewhere around these regions, in my personal opinion. From now onwards, we can speak about the bigger one, but right now, this is kind of what I would be expecting personally. I'm open for adjustments, but right now, I don't think that there are any. So overall, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. This is the weekly breakdown for this week. If you guys want more of this stuff, please like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, I'm very curious to know your thoughts. Make sure to follow the social medias. Join Discord if you want to get more out of me, my coins, investments, trades, and all of that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.